So it's not nice. Let me imagine this is. So now as we know that sun, who will be there? Up will be the sun. So from sun, who will come, Ra? From the sun, who will come?
Sunlight.
Light, sir.
Light rays.
So that is light. So sunlight energy will come from sun. Next, inside somebody is there. Somebody who will be there. Inside somebody, inside the leaves, somebody will be there. Who is that? Chlorophyll.
Stomach.
Chlorophyll will be present inside it. Now, so what will happen here? The process will take place. They will produce what? Glucose. They will produce what? Glucose. Understanding? That is only we used to call as food. Now, some food will be stored. That is, some food will be stored in the form of complex food. What is that food called as? Starch. What we should call? Storage food. That is also stored food. Stored food is called as starch. This is stored food. That is only what we are eating. Understanding? The stored food of plants is only called as starch food. Starch, that is only called as stored. So this is called as green leaf. So from the atmosphere, somebody will come. Who is that? From the atmosphere, somebody will come. From the atmosphere, somebody
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide, sir. Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide. CO2. CO2. From where? Carbon dioxide and as well as water. Water from where? CO2 and water. Water from where? Water from soil. Yes or no?
Soil, sir.
No.
Soil.
Along with that, glucose is produced. Along with that, glucose somebody also will produce. Who is that? Who is that?
O2.
Oxygen. Now,
Oxygen.
this food will be,
Oxygen, sir.
this food will be supplied throughout the plant. Is it yes or no? So this food only
Yes, sir.
will be supplied throughout the plant. Is it yes or no? So the food will be goes down as well as the food will be goes up all the parts of the plant. Is it yes? All of you?
Yes, sir.
So this is only called as stem. What we used to call?
Stem.
What we used to call?
Stem.
So this is about. Please all of you draw this. The process of photosynthesis takes place in the green leaves of a plant. So this is the diagram which we should draw. So now, so here what is happening? Food goes down. Food goes down. As well as if you take here, what is happening? Food goes what? Food goes upwards as well as food goes
Up.
down part and as well as
Downwards.
up part. So this is what? Soil. So from soil, who will get raw? Water will be absorbed by the plants with the help of roots. So this is the photosynthesis reaction. So this is the diagram which we can represent the photosynthesis. So what is the byproduct in this? The main product is food. What is the byproduct? Anybody? What is the byproduct in the photosynthesis?
Oxygen, sir.
Oxygen, sir.
Byproduct means which is not coming. What is not like a main reaction, main product. It is food is our main purpose, but along with that we are getting anyhow oxygen is most important, but it is coming like a byproduct in the form of this photosynthesis reaction. That is you should remember. Understanding? So this is the chemical reaction which will carried out. Understanding? A chemical reaction which is involved in the preparation of food. So in this, the byproduct is oxygen. That's it.
Oxygen.
Okay. So this oxygen only goes into the air. So which we are observing, understand, which we are doing the respiration process to sustain breathing, that oxygen only, which is coming from the food. Sorry, which is production, which is the byproduct of photosynthesis. That is only we are observing for sustaining. So if we'll observe here, this food prepared by the green leaves of a plant is in the form of a simple sugar called as glucose. So whatever the food which is prepared by the photosynthesis reaction is a very simple food. That food is only called as what? What we should call? Glucose. Understand? Now,
Glucose.
these glucose food made in the leaves and is then sent to the different parts of the plants, different parts of the plant. Now, the extra glucose, excess glucose is stored in the food and stored in the form of something like
In the form of starch.
something. So that is only called
Starch.
starch, understanding, which is known as complex food, or else a stored food is only known as starch. Starch is a complex food. Understand? So this extra glucose is changed into another food called as starch. So this starch is stored in the leaves of the plants. Where this starch will stored?
In the leaf of plants.
Leaves of the plant. Later, this
Plant.
glucose and starch belong to a category of food. Both are called as, both contains, they are category of food, one type of food. What is that? Can you able to say? Any idea, anybody? We're having different kind of food, correct? Vitamins, product.
Carbohydrates.
Vashika,
Carbohydrates. Sir.
Carbohydrates.
by the products are products means which we are getting here after the reaction we are getting glucose is the product, correct, Ashika? So but that glucose is the simple substance, so that glucose will be supplied, means for all the biological activities of plant that glucose will be supplied, but excess glucose will be produced, understand? So that excess glucose only will stored as a complex food in the leaves, that is only we used to call as starch. And along with the glucose, we are getting one more extra product called as byproduct. That byproduct is only known as oxygen. Understanding, Ashika? Okay. So now if you observe, this glucose and starch, both are under the one category of foods.
Carbohydrates. Sir. Carbohydrates.
Others? Is there anyone? We have vitamins, fats, carbohydrates, that's all correct, man. What is under this food? Glucose. Instant energy, glucose, glucon-D people will drink. What is that? Carbohydrates only. So this both glucose and starch, they are the category of food called as, this is only most
Carbohydrates.
Carbohydrates. Understand? So note it down. Understand, write it all of you. Glucose and starch belong to a category of food, belonging to a category of food called as what? Called as
Carbohydrates.
Now, let us see. Now, Dena will define carbohydrates. Dena, can you define from this? You can say, from this I can say that, understand, the food like carbohydrates prepared by the photosynthesis, which contains a chemical energy stored in them. Understand? So the chemical energy, because of the chemical energy which is stored, understanding, they only will prepare these carbohydrates by the process called as photosynthesis. Now from this, can you define Dina or Dilipan or anybody, Pranav? Define carbohydrates. What is the carbohydrates? So carbohydrates are what? Green plants which will convert the sunlight energy into chemical energy by making a food. It is only called as what? It is only called as what? Carbohydrates. Now, you may get the question. What kind of energy change involved in photosynthesis? What kind of energy change? Means which energy to which energy? Speak, yeah. After teaching this much, you don't know this. Which energy to which energy it is converting? Photosynthesis reaction is involving change. Correct. So into which energy? Tarani Pushpa, Arvind Ganapati? Anybody you can speak. Pranita? Which energy to which energy?
Light and heat energy.
Don't forget about the products and reactants. Only we are observing heat energy. In which reaction? In the reactant side. And we are getting as a products. Products is what? In the form of carbohydrates. So that is only called as chemical energy. Correct or not? So
radiant energy to chemical energy.
Says the green plant.
Heat energy.
Which energy to which energy? Sunlight.
Light energy to
Light energy to
chemical energy.
chemical energy.
That is
Light energy to heat energy.
understand? So chemical energy. So this chemical energy only called as what? Carbohydrates. That is only we used to call as food. Understanding? So the energy stored in the form of food, that is only we used to call as chemical energy. Understand or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes. That is, this you should remember. Sunlight energy, process, chemical energy. So now the food which is prepared by this photosynthesis, is normally called as carbohydrates, which will provide all the energy to a plant, understanding, which it needs to grow. So to perform all the biological activities of plant, so these carbohydrates only will helpful for the plant. Understand? And when we eat plant foods, what is the plant foods? Can you able to say? Like example, food grains, fruits, vegetables,
right.
a stem, few plant stems also we can eat. Correct or not? That is all. Everything. The chemical energy stored in them is released in our body during which process? That process, if we eat the food, that food process we have, digestion food, we have some process,
Digestion, sir.
energy releasing. Anybody fastly?
Respiration.
Respiration. Very good, Ashita.
Respiration, sir.
So in the
Respiration.
process of respiration, which energy will be released? Which energy will be released? The chemical energy,
Chemical energy.
which is stored. Stored from where? Stored in
Carbohydrate.
Carbohydrate.
carbohydrate. So if you eat any kind of, if you're eating onion, if you're eating any pulses, understand, if you're eating popcorn, if you're eating some other thing, understand, if you're eating dosa, kira, something, cauliflower, whatever it is you are eating, any fruit, vegetable. So the energy, the chemical energy which is stored in them is only released in our body during respiration. That chemical energy is only utilizing for our biological process. You understand, Amma? Yes or no? So this is all about understanding photosynthesis reaction in green leaves of a plant. So now with this I will stop, and next class we will study understanding how actually, what actually happens during the process of photosynthesis. Step by step we'll study, because the process are taking place, how it will be taking place we must know, and what is the conditions necessary for photosynthesis, how the photosynthesis will reaction will takes place. That is all will, and how, what is the experiments necessary for prove that photosynthesis reaction. That is all we'll study in the next class. So with this I'm going to stop the today's class. Thank you. And evening we have what?
Chemistry exam.
Exam.